In this video, I'll be teaching you how to cut a trouser, a male pant. And as you can see, I've folded my fabric savage edge to edge. And these are the measurements we'll be working with. I'm bringing the measurement close to the camera. So I have my waist, which is 37. I have my thigh, which is 26 as the lap. I have the length of the hip of the person, which is 43.5. I have the length to be 40, and I have the round leg to be 17. But for this video, I'll be using 18 inches. The first thing we are going to do here is to divide your waist measurement by 4. If your waist measurement is 40, divide it by 4. That will give you what? 10. Then add 1 inches to it. Add 1 inches to that 10. It will give you 11. So you are going to be marking 11 on the waistline of the pants. The top edge of that part of the fabric, the top edge of the fabric. You can see I've divided my waist measurement, which is 37 divided by 4. It gives me 9.5. I approximated that 9.25 to be 9.5. Then I had 1 inches to it. That is 10.5. So I'm going to be marking 10.5 for our waist measurement now. You can see 10.5 for our waist measurement. So this is where you mark it. I'm not marking it from the savage edge. There's a reason why I'm not marking. Just mark your 10.5 on the waistline. You can trim off that savage edge because there's a reason why I left it there. So from that 10.5 points, I mark 1/4 of an inch to get our slants. You can use 1 inch, but me, I use 1/4 of an inch for this tutorial. You mark it, then you take your ruler and connect it to the top edge of that fabric, like the way I'm doing it in the video. The next thing we are going to do is to mark our crotch depth. So to get your crotch depth, whatsoever your waist give you, that 10.5, add half inches to it. If the person is of average height, add half inches to it. But if the person is tall, like the person is very tall, add 1 inches to give room around that crotch, so that when the person wear the pants, it will not be too tight around that crotch part. So now we are going to mark 11 for the crotch. You can see where I'm taking my measurement from. So then I rule across that mark point. Remember our thigh or lap measurement is 26. You are going to divide that 26 by 2. So you are going to mark it on the crotch line. So when I divided mine by 2, it gave me 13. So you are going to mark in 13. Don't add anything to it. Just mark 13 on it. Just mark 13. Now I'm not marking from the savage edge. So you can trim that part off if it's confusing you. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to be marking my trouser length. My trouser length is 40 inches. So I'm going to be marking 40 inches. Then I'll add 2 inches. 2 inches for the folding. So I'm marking 40 inches. I will later add 2 inches for folding. You can mark 42. So right now I'm marking 40 first. So I'll go ahead and mark 2 inches extra. I'm going to go across that point. You see, I've rolled my 40 and 2 inches that is meant for the folding. At the crotch part, from that 13 inches mark, I'll move in by 2 inches. 2 inches. Then I'll connect that 2 inches to our waistline. You connect it the way I'm connecting it in the video. Then you curve that point. Yeah, that's what we have now. The next line we are going to go is the nail line, because I measured the nail line on my client. So I'm going to mark 23 inches now, because his nail line, his knee from his waist is 23. So I'm going to mark 23 from the top line. I'm marking 23 inches. And if you did not mark your you did not measure the nail line on your client, what you will do is just divide the full length by 2 minus 1 to get the nail line. Remember our crotch, our lap or thigh measurement is 13. I'm going to divide that 13 by 2 to get the center of our pants. So I'm marking 6.5 on that nail line, and at the hem line too, I'm marking 6.5 inches. Our ankle measurement is 14. I'm dividing that 14 by 2 to give us 7. So on this part of the trouser, the front part is going to be 7. So we are marking 3.5 from the center line of that mark point. So it will give us 7. Just from that center line point that you've marked, just mark 3.5, 3.5. That will give you 7. On the lean line, I told you I'll be using 18. So I'll be marking 4.5, 4.5 at each side of the center of the pants. That will give us 9. You mark 4.5 from that center line that you first marked. I'm using my line ruler to connect the ankle part to the nail. See the way I'm doing it. You do your own the same way. At the crotch part, you slightly curve to meet the nail line. You slightly curve to meet the nail line. You slightly curve. I just connected it with my ruler before I curve. That place is not sharp, but please, you curve. You curve. And the crotch part is not slant. You slightly curve inward before you connect it back to the nail. You can see our trouser is almost ready. So I'm using my French curve to curve that part a little bit inward, so before connecting it back to the hip line. Next thing I'm going to do is to mark the pocket notch. You first mark 7 at the side. You mark 7 inches from the top line. Then on the waist part, you mark 2 inches. 2 inches. That's where your pocket notch will be. So 7 by 2 inches. Right now I'm going to cut our pants. this point, if you are here to subscribe to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share this video, and please give this video a thumb up and click on the notification bell so when I post new videos, you are the first person to get notified. You can see I've cut out our front part of the trouser and I've placed it on the fabric. You can see the direction of the pants now. It's facing the opposite side. You can see when we first cut the pants, this is the direction it was facing. So after cutting it, you place it on the fabric like this to get the back part. You make sure that the edges are aligned. So move it closer to the edge part. So notch that crotch part, just notch that part. The way I did before you go in and trim off the trouser like this. You trim it off. You can see what I'm doing. You can use this part for your fly, your pocket, your trouser fly. So you follow the curve of the first front part of the trouser. So after cutting, trimming off that part, you move your trouser like this. We are adding seam allowance. Remember that when we were cutting the first part of the trouser, we don't add any seam allowance. You just mark the actual measurement on the pants. So make sure that the end part is 2 inches. So that's what I'm doing, 2 inches. And make sure the edges are aligned. Arrange your pants very well. And the crotch part, make sure it's 3 inches. 3 inches. The back of the trouser, make sure it's 3 inches. 3 inches. Make sure it's 3 inches at the back. Align your trouser very well. Okay. That's what we're having. 3 inches. And at the waist part of the trouser, you come out 1.5 inches for that. You can use 2 inches. I'm extending that waistline. So you mark 2 inches or 1.5. So that's what I'm doing now. So I'm going to draw my back curve to meet that our notch part. The part that you notch, you draw your curve to meet it. And you extend the back by 1 inches. You extend it by 1, so that when your clients wear the pants, it will not be opening by 1 inches. Then you connect it to the waistline. So I'm bringing the camera forward so that you can see what I'm doing. So I'm trying to zoom in. I think this is okay. You're going to back 1 inches. Then you're going to connect it to the front waist part of the trouser like this. So the next thing you go ahead and cut the pants. If you are not using the fabric for the pocket, you can use this part. Went ahead to cut. Please follow everything I'm doing in the video to get a perfect pants cutting. You know your cutting is very, very important. the cutting of the pants is very important. You can see I folded that savage edge into trying to trim off that that place is not looking good. That's why I'm trimming it off. As you can see, both your front and back trouser is ready for sewing. And for the band, for the band I use 1.5 inches for the band, just 1.5 inches. And thank you. And if you are yet to subscribe to my channel, please click on the subscription button and also on the notification bell, so that when I post a new video, you'll be among the first person to get notified. After cutting, this is what you should be having. That's our front and that's our back.